Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com. I was watching a video on YouTube and I just got a thought, I guess kind of an inspiration, and it's also something I already had written down on one of my notes. So a lot of people will be like, well, so what do you do? Well, one of the things that I don't use, a phrase that most people are like, but isn't that what you do? Is I don't, for the most part, use the phrase, oh, I'm a life coach. Now, the funny thing is I am a life coach, but I don't like that phrase for a couple reasons. Because number one, I think a lot of people, I don't think it's because over the last two and a half decades, I've ran into people, whether it was at a training or at a club or a party or whatever, gathering, that would be like, oh, my friend's a life coach. I'm like, really? Well, like, where did she train? And the funny thing is, they would always be like, what do you mean, where did they? I go, well, where did she get certified? What has she studied? What company did she train with? And she's like, well, she didn't train with anybody. I'm like, well, what are you talking about? Oh, well, she's a Catholic. I'm like, okay, well, that's good to be a Catholic. That's being awesome. And I'm like, so like, what qualifies her to be a life coach? She's like, well, she's a Catholic, so she just went out and made a business card, and she tells people how to live their lives, that based on and according to her beliefs. That is not what I do. So I'm basically going to start this out telling you what I don't do. So I don't go around telling people what to believe, what to think, what their values should be, stuff like that. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why I avoid the phrase life coach. If I use the phrase life coach, it'll be for SEO, to gain more traffic and sales, to attract people. Even then, I don't think I've probably used that a few times at most over the last 20 years. I just don't use that phrase. So what do I do? So I am a life coach, certified and trained, but what my main skill set really is neuro-linguistic programming. You can look that up, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. It's a new form of cognitive behavioral psychology based on communication, how we communicate to ourselves internally or externally, and how that affects us and each other emotionally, and how that decides whether we take an action or don't, or whether we hold back or we shy away. So I'm also highly trained in Ericksonian hypnosis. I'm a master hypnotherapist. I did go to school, study psychology. I do not have my doctorate degree. What else? I'm a master practitioner of timeline therapy, Reiki, Huna, pranic healing, etc., etc. So I've trained in a lot of things, which I don't want to continue. There's a lot more than that. So what I do is I help people to evolve, to shift, to change, but to change to what? To who you truly are on the inside. Now, in applied psychology, there was a very interesting thing the teacher taught us. I really, really, really liked this. So we were sitting in class, and he brought up this idea, this I guess concept you could call it, and he said, look, there's nothing actually wrong with you, with the core you, with the real you. Like, you're fine. You're perfect just the way you are. He said, the way I look at things is, imagine you're a ball of energy. Now, that's something that from energy healing I've really come to realize about people. Like, we're just massive amounts of energy, just like balls of energy. And when you start looking at each other like that, like that person over there has a ball of energy around them, you start to perceive people differently. Now, here's what he said. He said, all I'm doing is wiping away the dirt that got on you and around your ball of energy, so it's kind of covering up your light or your brightness, all right? He goes, all we're doing is we're clearing away a little bit of dirt here, a little bit away of dirt there, a little there, and the true you starts to come out. So I'm saying the same thing. I really like that philosophy. I thought, oh, that's great, because we are all uniquely different, and we all have amazing skills and powers and abilities that we were born with naturally, that it's just an innate part of who we are, and it's why we came to the planet. And it's one of the reasons why I will have radically, uniquely different friends and associates whose beliefs aren't even close to mine. And a lot of people around me like, well, how can you hang out with that guy? I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like, well, he doesn't believe what you believe. I'm like, yeah, so like, why does that matter? So a lot of people get caught up. When you have the dirt covered around you, like one of the things of dirt is you're told to believe like, oh, people have to believe what I believe, or we have to believe the same thing. Well, that's just a piece of dirt that's covering up the true you. Okay, and it's keeping you from truly shining and truly being yourself. In fact, I would say that's one of the biggest, what's the word I'm looking for, challenges in our journey, is to truly become ourselves, to think for ourselves, and to become who we truly are on the inside, and to just shine. And that's why I like to use this image of this band, Tonight Alive, is because like literally, she's literally shining. She's in her full essence, fully stepping into her power and being who she truly is. So that's what I do. I unveil and reveal who you are. I allow you to come out more and more and more. So let me give you an example of what I mean. So Adam, one of my clients, he came to me and he had a lot of work to do, which most people do. In fact, I think part of it is work, life, and becoming who you truly is. It's like it's part of the challenge, and it's kind of it's a beautiful struggle when you finally get on path and you start moving forward and healing certain aspects of your wounded emotions and beginning to develop better skills and strategies to get more of what you want. If I could use one phrase, that's who I am, that's what I'm all about. In fact, I used to have a business card that had my name and logo on it, and then at the bottom it said, how to get more of what you truly want out of life, love, and relationships. So a lot of people will come to me thinking, oh, well, it's all therapeutic. It's all about therapy. I'm all messed up. I'm screwed up. No, not really. Okay. Some of it is going to be a lot of therapy, a lot of therapeutic healing, emotional healing work. Okay. But you would be surprised at the simplest strategies. Now, strategies are easily to change and implement into your system. So I'm going to give you an example of what I mean. Adam came to me, and of course, he didn't walk in there and say, hey, man, I have this really bad strategy. No, it's unconscious. Our strategies, beliefs, rules, values, they're unconscious. We don't even know that we have them unless you take these trainings on how to pull them up and bring them up. So one of my jobs is just constantly be aware, ask you certain questions, and ask questions in a patterned way. So I'll ask questions, and you're going to look at me like, wait, why do you keep asking? Like, I'll ask questions in a slightly different way, like we're going in a circle, and I'll do it over and over until pop, something pops out, and like, oh, there it is. So part of what and the way I'm trained in is there is an art to asking questions on an unconscious level to bring up the conflicts that are stuck inside you, that are causing a part of you to fight the other part of yourself versus working together and going in the same direction. Okay? So let's use Adam. So Adam is a British man. He's fairly successful, actually, and he flew all the way out from the UK, from London. He'd heard about my work and the work I've been doing, and he was very impressed with it, and so lo and behold, he flies out. So we had done quite a bit of work. We had done a 5-day training, and then we'd done work through the phone, and then he flew back out again. I think it was about 5 months later. And things really started clicking with him. He started to finally, I guess, let go and allow things to bubble up. All right. So there was a strategy of his that he was using since he was a child. And I think it was around the age of 5 or 6 or 7, a very, very young age, where he had, again, unconsciously developed this strategy that was not actually helping him get what he wanted, but he fully and completely invested in the strategy, and he used it everywhere. So you would think he would just go, oh, okay, and he would change. No, he didn't change right away. I'm going to tell you what the strategy is right now, and then I'm going to explain why he refused to change early on. So what happened was, over the weeks and months that we had worked together, I became very clear that he was using a really horrible strategy. Now, part of the strategy that I used and the training, the techniques that I used was I have to meet people where they're at. So if he's in this argumentative, oh, let me tell you the strategy. Okay, so here it is. So here was the strategy that popped up, and when he saw it, now there's a video that I've uploaded years ago. We did it on Zoom. We did the actual session on Zoom when it popped up, and he became very, very conscious and aware, like, oh, wow, I've been doing that since I was a child. And here's what it is. Okay, so he believed that he had to get one up on people. And so essentially I knew what that means in general, what most people would mean. But I asked him, I go, what does that mean to you? He goes, well, I have to get them basically to lower their guard. I go, okay, so like, what is your strategy to do that? Or how do you do that? And he goes, well, when I meet people, I convince them that I'm stupid. I'm like, oh, okay. He goes, I work really, really hard to make sure that they truly believe that I'm stupid. And I'm kind of looking at him like, okay. And I go, well, what's your purpose for that? Again, this is part of the questioning. This is a question you'll hear me say a lot, but there's a bunch of other questions. So questions is an art to pull stuff out of people's unconscious minds. So I said, what is your purpose for convincing people? And I repeated what he said. I said, for working really hard to convince people that you're stupid, to where they actually think or believe that you're stupid. He goes, well, because then eventually they're going to say, oh, you're so stupid. You're such an idiot. He goes, and then I jump on them. I'm like, wait, what? What do you mean? He goes, I yell at them and I say, how dare you, say something so mean and so rude and so disrespectful, blah, blah. And then what I did is I used a pattern interrupt, because right as he was in the pattern in his mind, boom, I go, stop. He goes, what? I go, stop. I go, but you said that you would work really hard to, but okay, all right, so here's the part I missed. So he goes, he shifted from, yeah, I'm over here trying to trick them to convince them that I'm stupid, so now they think I'm dumb. So in his mind, he's thinking, well, I'm actually smart, and therefore I can like outthink them or something like that, right? But then as he switched to the other side, he literally went into a different part of him. And he goes, I just can't believe that people would do that. I'm like, wait, what? What are you talking about? He goes, well, Michael, that's just so mean and blah, 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 blah. And he would tell me how he would yell at them and confront them. And I go, whoa, 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 Adam, stop. I go, you literally, and this is all on Zoom, it's being recorded. And I go, you literally just said 3 minutes ago that you worked really, really hard to convince them that you're dumb, that you would purposely play stupid and act like you didn't understand them and, create these frustrating conversations. And he was, oh, wait a minute. And I go, Adam, if you want, I can actually record it and replay it back so you can listen to what you literally just said. He goes, oh, wait a minute. So the reason why I do this is not to be mean or to say, oh, you're wrong. That's not the purpose. The purpose is, if you can get someone to see their own unconscious strategies while they're in the strategy, then they can pop out, and then they can make a new decision on, this isn't getting me what I want. I need to figure out a better way. And that is the goal of therapy. So you might be thinking, so are you going to tell him what strategy to have now, Mike? No, I'm not Catholic, and I'm not a Catholic girl who's a life coach who tells people how to live their lives. All right, so I'm actually not knocking Catholic people. I have a lot of respect for the Catholic religion. What I'm saying is that I don't give people advice. I don't tell people what to do, and I definitely don't tell them what beliefs or strategies to have. But what I do is I help them to find what they truly want on a core level by asking them a specific series. There's a bunch of different questions, a bunch of different patterns to elicit what their values are, what their strategies are, and what they want out of life, and how to get it in a better, faster, more smoother, more enjoyable way. So one of the things we do is we will constantly ask this question, well, for what, I say, okay, so you basically act like you're dumb, and you work really hard until you're convinced that they actually believe that you're dumb, and then you keep doing it until they get upset and pissed off at you because you played stupid, you frustrated people, you've angered people, and then you jump on them and yell at them, and then they never want to talk to you again, and they walk away because you just created this chaos. And he goes, I never really saw it that way. I go, and yet you've been doing this since you were a kid. See, people, a lot of strategies that you developed unconsciously when you're a child, it doesn't help you. In fact, usually it's the absolute worst thing that you could possibly do. So as an adult, you have to begin to develop new strategies and new beliefs and heal the emotional wounds behind those things. So Adam he was getting bullied when he was a kid, and he wanted a way out, and he used this strategy on someone, and it embarrassed the kid in front of, I think it was the entire class or a group of friends, and it made him feel victorious, like, wow, I finally got this bully to stop bullying me, and I put him in his place, and it made me feel good. And for a little kid, hey, good for you, man, that's awesome. The problem is, as an adult, he would suck people in to this strategy of absolutely mind-numbingly frustrating them and pissing them off, and then turning around saying, oh, you're this bad person, look what you did to me. And my point is this, is he would do this to very well-meaning, well-intentioned, good-hearted people. And he was, I just don't understand why I don't have friends anymore and why people don't like me. And so when he saw the strategy, he goes, wow. And now it's a tough pill to swallow. I get it. We all have done this or do this on some level in our lives. This is what growth is about. This is what evolving is about, so you can create a better dynamic between you and other people. So the more you begin to find and discover your unconscious strategies and beliefs and the things that guide you to destroy your relationships in your life, you can clear them up, and all of a sudden people treat you better because they feel better when they're around you, and they want to be around you, and they do things for you, and life becomes blissful. So to wrap it up, I asked Adam, I said, so what is your purpose for pissing people off and frustrating them? It said, and playing dumb and acting dumb and not understanding anything that they say to you. And tell you, because he would do this to me. So part of what I'm trained in is there's a book called Provocative Therapy. So and there's a little bit more than that. So when Adam was doing this to me, I saw the strategy, and I'm like, oh, he doesn't realize what he's doing. So instead of just logically saying, hey, here's your strategy, well, it's not going to help him. He has to see it. So what I do is there's different techniques, such as matching him, doing it right back to him, mirroring him, okay? And doing the same technique back until it frustrates the crap out of him. And then he goes, he goes, that's what I do. I go, yes, that's what you do to people. He goes, no wonder why people don't want to talk to me. I'm like, yes. And he goes, oh my God. So essentially, to help him discover, create, and develop his own new strategy, I will ask him, well, what's your purpose for pissing people off and frustrating and playing that dumb game with them? So he essentially said, well, because I'm trying to get one up on them. He goes, I already told you that. I go, okay, so what's your higher purpose for getting... See, people, we don't do things just to be assholes. We do things because we're trying to get something out of life, okay? And that's fine. The challenge... Okay, here's what happens, though. On some level, we learned something, and it got us what we wanted at one point in our life, so we just stuck to that thing, not really realizing, like, wow, I've been hurting people and upsetting people. In other words, Sometimes we use really horrible strategies that not only hurt other people, but they don't actually get us what we want. In fact, they do quite the opposite. So I said, what's your highest purpose for getting one over on people? He goes, well, because then I have more power. I go, well, what's your purpose for that? He goes, well, then I can trick them. I was like, well, what's your highest purpose for that? And he goes, because then I can put them in their place. Now, again, this is a real shitty strategy, forgive me, but it really was. And then I go, well, okay, so once they're in their place, what's your highest purpose for that? He goes, well, then I can be in control, and then I can get what I want out of the relationship. So I'm sure at this point, most of you are thinking, God, that's just horrible. But you know what? A lot of people, most of us on some level, have used really horrible strategies, and not even trying to be mean, but just, they become unconscious because you do them at a young age, or you pick up on them as you start to go into your teens. You're not, like Adam's not, okay, here's the thing about Adam. He's actually a really good person. He really cares about people. The challenge is he just, as most of us, just had really bad strategies, and that's all it was. So I asked him, I go, what's your purpose for being in control? And he goes like, well, so I can get what I want out of the situation. I'm like, okay, so what's your highest purpose for getting what you want out of your situation? And he said something like, well, so I can, create the life that I want to live, so I can make a certain amount of money, so I can do this now. I'm like, well, that sounds good. Now, here's the thing about, having strategies or parts. They all have a higher good, greater good. The challenge is, if you have a really shitty strategy, number one, it's not going to help you get what you want. Number two, it's going to cause a lot of harm and a lot of hurt. So now that we're helping him find his highest purpose by doing this pattern over and over. Like, well, what's your highest purpose for that? What's your highest purpose for that? Like, well, once you have that, what does that allow you to have or experience? And then he's like, well, I would just feel more content. I'd feel more relaxed. I'd feel at ease. I would just, feel good about myself in life. I go, so once you have that and you feel that inside, what's your highest purpose for that? And he goes, honestly, just to go live my life and enjoy my life and be at peace and be happy. And then boom, that's where his highest purpose is. So here's the deal. I knew at that point, I literally could just step out of his life and allow that pattern, that higher, not the pattern, but the highest purpose. Once you connect to your highest purpose, all of a sudden, newer strategies come up. You might read a Tony Robbins book or go to a Tony Robbins seminar. He could ask me, and I could introduce to him a bunch of strategies and say, well, what would be a better way of approaching it? Well, I could actually get people to like me. I'm like, oh, see, in my trainings, what I do with people is I teach you a ton of different patterns and strategies in a skill set of gaining rapport with people, gaining rapport with their unconscious mind, listening to understand other people in a way that they know that not only that they've been truly heard, because that makes people feel good, but also in a way that you have greater clarity on communication. So you both walk away going, wow, that was a very productive conversation. I actually understood what you said, and now they understand you and vice versa. So you begin to gain trust and build trust in relationships versus using these tricky tricks to get over on people, because nobody likes that. So all of a sudden you start having more power and influence in your life in a good way, because here's what I began to realize about myself and others. The more you clear away the dirt and the crap that surrounds your shining light, the pureness of you, the real you starts to come out, and the true core you is a very kind, loving, and powerful being. Now, there's a lot of people right now that go, powerful, that's a bad word. No, it's not. If you are truly in your power, you won't hurt other people because you won't have to. Pure power, true power is actually very clean and has clarity. It's very good. See, that's what I began to realize with people. The more power that you truly have to get what you want, the happier you become. And the happier you become, the better you begin to treat other people. So, in a way, you could say there's good power and there's bad power, but no, there truly really is only one form of power, and that's good power. Bad power really means that you're coming from a place of weakness, you're coming from a place of fear. You're not coming from a place of power if you're hurting other people. You're truly not. Because, like, let's take Adam's strategy. See, here's the thing about a strategy. It made him feel really powerful. But he also walked away knowing that these people were mad at him and no one wanted to talk to him, and so it's kind of like, really, is that real power? So people won't work with you, they won't hire you, they won't deal with you, they don't even want to talk to you. Is that really power? No, it could be. And here's the thing, is because it came from a bullying experience when he was a little kid. And what ended up happening is he developed a strategy based off being bullied. In other words, he wasn't coming from a place of power. He was coming from a place of being pushed around, and he couldn't stand it anymore. So it was one level above for him. And applying that strategy maybe to bullies might be an appropriate strategy, I guess, if you want to say that. I don't think it is, but it's better than where he was at. But you need to continue to evolve to develop your strategies and become better and better and clearer, to become that pure white light that you truly are, the core being of who you truly are. So I want to leave it at that. God bless you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video, and I really truly hope you begin to develop better strategies and begin to enjoy your life and get more of what you want.